Welcome to the Inside Syracuse Basketball Podcast. I'm Mike Waters. Today on the podcast, I'm joined by Kolinski, a former manager for the Syracuse basketball team who recently became an assistant for the women's team at Moyne College. Kolinski talked about how Nancy Lieberman became a mentor to her, how being a single mom has impacted her on and off the court, and why she wanted the job at Moyne. Well, welcome back to another edition of the Inside Syracuse Basketball Podcast. And this guest, this is going to be a pleasure today, I have a feeling, here on the podcast, because I've known this young lady for a very long time. Kolinski, now of the Moyne women's basketball program, recently hired as an assistant coach of the Dolphins. But geez, Katie, I've known you since you were like a freshman or sophomore at Syracuse and working as a manager on the men's basketball team. You graduated from SU in, 2016? You stayed as a graduate assistant?
Yep. I think 2017, 18, maybe 16. Yeah, I don't even, the years all mesh.
Katie doesn't remember. I have my notes right here,
Okay.
so I can fill in the gaps. But no, Katie, I've known you for such a long time and followed you as you've, staked out, started out your coaching career in basketball. There's so many things I want to go over with you, but let's start with the most recent news. Taking the job as an assistant coach at Moyne. What about that job attracted you to that? Because you had previously been working as an assistant at Lafayette.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just Coach Mary's vision, where she sees the program going, being Division One. Coach Mary is a winner, and that brought me into wanting to work for her. Being able to learn from her, come in, be a top assistant. I think I'll have a lot of growth, doing that. And then, we want to come in and win. And then just being home, I think, it's a perfect opportunity for me. I love the Syracuse area. I'm kind of like Coach Boeheim in that regard. Like, I live here all the time. I don't care about the snow. And it's been awesome to be home and just around good people, Moyne, the community, being around Syracuse people. So I think it just has a lot to offer. And I think it's just the beginning for Moyne. And, that's what kind of brought me home.
You mentioned Coach Mary. You're referring to Mary Grimes. She's been the women's head coach at Moyne for the last 2 years. Division II NCAA tournament appearances each of her first 2 years. That's not bad. But now the program is going Division I. I mean, did that make it a little bit more exciting, or was that more attractive to you to take a Moyne job? Like, I'm wondering, would you have taken the job at Moyne if they were still in Division II?
Well, I think it might not have been an opportunity if they stay Division II, because now that they've added an extra coach, I think it just kind of made sense right now to do it. I think I just like coaching in general. So I think Moyne had a lot to offer D2 and now, a lot to offer D1. But I think in general, just being able to work for Coach Grimes and the winning that they've done and just being around the good people, being at home, I think it's great going D1, but it didn't that wasn't like my final factor of it making the decision to do that. I think, coaching's coaching. I know people look at levels and high major, low major, whatever, but we're all doing the same stuff. It's the same daily, work. We're all recruiting, and, even at a level like Moyne, we might even be doing a little bit more because we got to do, video stuff. We got to do Dobo stuff as, assistant coaches. So, there's a lot of stuff that we have to do behind the scenes outside of just coaching. So, it's all the same, to me.
You got your start in college basketball as a manager with the men's basketball team at Syracuse. And then you spent 2 years as a graduate assistant. By the way, the first female to hold that position in Syracuse history. So you set a, major historical precedent there. But what's it like now? Or I guess let's start. There's so many questions starting with that. Why have, since Syracuse, you left the men's game and gone over to women's basketball? Because you were at the University of Buffalo, then Lafayette, and now Moyne, all with the women.
Yeah, I think it's just opportunity. Coach Jack gave me an opportunity. She was my first opportunity out of college, and her giving me the opportunity. Coaching's coaching. If it's men, if it's women, I've had a few opportunities come up on the men's side. I had another job offer out of Syracuse at a prep school, and sometimes if you want to get in on the men's side, you might want to start in the prep route, just because you're gonna have to have recruits Recruiting is a big part of the men's side, women's too, but the men put a little different onus, I guess, on that part of it. And I ended up going with Coach Jack, and then I also had another opportunity when I was working with Coach Jack, like an entry level position in the NBA, and I ended up staying with Coach Jack that year. So opportunities have come up, but it's just kind of like right time. I don't know what the future holds. I'm not saying that I won't go back to the men's side, but I'm gonna go where opportunities are. And coaching women's basketball, it's been great. I love it. I love working with females, growing the game, and I'm just happy to be around the game, if it's men's or women's.
Is there a difference in coaching men versus women?
It's all the same to me. Coaching's coaching. Just like working on the guys' side, like women want to know that you care about them. So I think having that relationship first, and then being able to coach them at the level you want to be able to coach them. But to me, it's all the same as basketball, X's and O's. Transition defense is the same, men's and women's. Rotations are the same, men's and women's. So the difference is people say, oh, because they can dunk a basketball a little bit more. So I don't think it's much of a difference, to be honest. It's both, it's both fun. It's, for me, I just like being around the game.
When you were at Syracuse, first as a manager and then as the grad assistant, maybe more so as the grad assistant because you maybe did more with the players. I don't know. You can explain that to me. But how long did it take the guys on the team, the players, to accept you for what you were able to do and how you were able to coach and help them?
It's funny. I think it's kind of I think it's just like a misrepresentation of like women coaching men, is that the players will care, and they didn't. Like
Really? Really?
I think more people have issues with it are other people. Like they just want to get information from whoever they can that they know can do a good job of giving them the information. And if you're gonna work your butt off for them, they love that. Like they'll love you. They just want to be in the gym and they don't care. And I think they accepted me right from the beginning. And I will say this too: the coaches at Syracuse accepted me from the beginning. Coach
Okay.
Boeheim, Coach Red, Coach Hop, Coach GMAC, like they accepted me too. So I think just being around people that are going to be accepting of it, I think more coaches Division I men's college need to be accepting of it, because you have 2 extra coaching spots now.
Mm-hmm.
And before they said, well, you can't recruit, you got to be able to recruit. What mother wouldn't want to send their son to a female on staff to make sure she's going to take care of her son, and just having that, I think, is important. And that extra assistant can't go on the road recruiting. So why not bring in a female that can do just as a good job as a male can, and develop the guys and watch film, break down film, and then you can still make recruit calls and get the moms on the phone, tell them that you're going to take care of their sons. I think more Division I men's basketball coaches should be open to that. Because on the women's side, we have so many men's head coaches, so many men's assistants. A lot of men are getting jobs over females. So, it should just be about who's best for the job. And I think with the new rule, like, I don't think it's changed yet, but the rule has changed, but the coaches are not still hiring women. So I think that should start changing, because, there's no excuses now. If you can coach, you can coach.
We should take a step back here and let people know, too, that in high school, at West Genesee High School, just outside of Syracuse, you played basketball. You were a 3-year varsity player at West Genny, right?
Oh, can you repeat that last part? Sorry.
You played on the varsity at West Genny for 3 years. So you've played
as a sophomore.
right.
Yeah.
Did you have
and then I studied the game.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
You
were saying you studied the game.
Well, I studied the game for 7 years at Syracuse too. So I think, if like you're gonna study the game, then you're gonna know it,
I was taking the Moyne job. I was wondering if there was another factor there, because you've been very open. You're a single mom. You have a beautiful little daughter who's coming up on her 3rd birthday, I believe. Kaiya.
Yeah. Yeah, August. Yes.
She's almost 3. Congratulations there. But you had Kaiya on your own when you were at Lafayette. And I wondered if, like, part of the attractiveness of coming back to Moyne was also a work-family balance, because this is where you grew up. You have family here.
Yeah, I think that's important, to have that balance. But I just thought it was, the right time. Obviously, my daughter will be around her family more, and I do think that's important, but it wasn't like my deciding factor for everything. I think, it's just a kind of an added bonus to have family around to help a little bit more. But, I had a pretty good system going down at Lafayette, I think, of just, help I had there. And, even like Kia, our head coach, her husband would help. Like I had a family, Coach MJ, his wife would take her for like road trips and stuff. So like I had a good system going there, but I do think it's like an added bonus to be able to come home just because I do like the Syracuse area.
How much has having a daughter and being a single mom impacted you as a coach?
I think it's just made me like change my mindset a little bit more. It's a lot different when, you're trying to put food on the table for your daughter. So I think just my mindset has changed a lot because, if I don't have a job or if I'm not doing my job, then, she's not gonna have food on the table and we're not gonna have a roof over our heads. So I think like my mindset has definitely changed a little bit. Because if you had told me back in college, like I just want to be the best coach, that's it. And now I just want to be the best mom, and then it's an added bonus to be a good coach. So I think my mindset's changed, but I also think me being a mom kind of opens our players' eyes up a little bit. They see you kind of like grinding it out, being a mom, being at practice every day, just kind of like being able to navigate, those two worlds together, because it's not like we're working a 9 to 5 job. So, it was really hard, I will say that, but I think it's just made me a better person, a harder worker, and then you just got to be smarter with your time. I might not have 3 hours at night, to watch film like I could before. So, I might have to do it when she goes to bed, or I might have to wake up a little earlier to get it done, or, things like that, because, my daughter doesn't want a mom that's constantly watching film, constantly on the phone. So just being smart with my time of, calling recruits and, things like that. Cause, I don't want my daughter a couple years from now being like, well, mom, you're just on the phone all the time. So you just got to have a really good balance. And I think it just has helped me, become over like an overall like better person too.
When you found out you were pregnant, did you worry about how that news was going to be received by your head coach down there at Lafayette, Kia Damon Olson,
Uh,
or how it might impact your job?
Yeah, because it was my first year on staff, and I didn't really know Kia to that level yet, but she was just like, "Congratulations," and she just took it so well. So, because I think sometimes it could have a negative, persona to it in our coaching, just because people want to hire people that are going to be, committed to the game 24/7. And just
Mhm.
because I'm a mom doesn't mean I can't still be committed to the game the way I was before. And you just got to be able to work for someone who's understanding. Like, she might have a sick day, and I got to figure it out. And Kia just from the beginning, like, hey, I got to take her to the doctor today, or I got to do this, or, whatever. I might have to leave a little earlier, today just to go pick her up, but I'll be back at practice, so like I might have to leave for 5 minutes to get her from daycare. And she just kind of just brought it on from the beginning, and she didn't blink an eye. And I think that's really important, is to have more people in our business that are going to support moms, especially single moms, just so we can stay in the business. Because I wouldn't still be in the business if it wasn't for, Coach Kia. So
Really, you giving her the credit there, like for
yeah, because it's so like people don't really realize how hard it is, one, to be a coach, and then obviously to be a mom, and then do most of it on my own out in Pennsylvania. I think it was hard, and if I didn't have someone that was understanding of what I was going through, I don't think it would have worked. And I might not have been in the business anymore. So I think like just how her attitude was towards it, and how she just helped me, and she just was understanding. And I still did my job, but I didn't always have easy days, so, just figuring out road trips. Like I could tell her that day, like, hey, Kia, Kaiya's coming on the road trip with us. She wouldn't bat an eye. Okay, bring her on the bus, or hey, Kaiya's really sick today. I might have to bring her to practice. Okay. Because like we're a Patriot League school, so it's high academic. So we would practice 4 to 6 or 6 to 8. So that means like most days we weren't getting home till 8:30 or 7. So, kind of like how Syracuse practiced at 4. So, that means every single day her daycare closed at 5. I had to pick her up, get her dinner, and still be at practice, still watch film with our kids, still present a scout. So, she was just really understanding about how I had to navigate my like every single day.
and you did it.
Yeah, I did. Sometimes I reflect like, what, I did it. So, sometimes you got to give yourself, your own flowers, because, it wasn't easy, but it was definitely worth it.
You know, I got to think that taking your daughter on a recruiting trip It's probably kind of an unfair advantage.
It is hard to say no to her. She's too cute. But we like when I tell you I would go on a recruiting trip out to like Massachusetts, like 5 hours away from Easton. She would ride out there with me, didn't cry one time in the car, did not care. We would have to like go to a 6 a.m. open gym. And then we'd have maybe like a 12 o'clock open gym. And then you'd have to sneak in a nap for her. And then you might do like an 8 o'clock open gym at night. And then, because you're trying to get all these schools in at once. And then you got like the 5 hour ride home after all that all day, and she's just like the happiest kid ever, so being able to navigate stuff like that with Kaiya, who a normal kid would just be crying and mad at the world, but she just was so happy just to be there, and having a personality like hers helps me definitely.
You had taken me on that kind of trip, I would have been crying and mad.
That's what I mean, like that's how it is though. You might go to like 5 or 6 gyms in 3 days, and in between, she has her naps and stuff, and you gotta make sure she's fed. And it definitely, like I said, it was definitely a challenge, but she made it easy though. So
Can she go to her left yet?
you know what? We're working on the dribbling. She's starting to kind of, dribble a little bit, but we got to work. She might be a lefty. She's been playing baseball lefty. She was playing the guitar the other day lefty. So it's to be determined if she's gonna be a lefty or a righty. So it might be, can she go right? So let's
we'll,
see.
we'll find out, I guess. Your parents must be thrilled to have you and their granddaughter back in town.
They are ecstatic. Kaiya loves them so much. And, they helped out when they could. When I was in PA, they would come up, help with trips. My dad would drive, pick her up, do things that he needed to do to help me. But being here, my dad will say it like, he's like, I'm so glad I don't have to make that trip out to Easton again, just because we're here now. So we're not driving 3 hours back and forth. And, I was coming out like in Syracuse probably like 2 weekends a month, bringing my daughter out here. So I think just being here, I think it'll be helpful, just for Kaiya and me, at least for the time being, to be back in Syracuse and be around my family. And like they're just so happy. Like my dad's already talking about bringing her to all the games, and like my mom, she helps me watch her all the time, and I think it's just been really good.
How good can Lemoyne women be as you make the jump to Division 1?
I think time will tell, but I can only guarantee this. Like, we're going to work as hard as we can to bring in the right kids, bring in high character kids that, are going to be winners. And, like I said, Lemoyne won last year. So, it's no doubt in my mind that Coach Mary can get them into contenders in the NEC very soon and very early. And we're going to try to do what we can to, win our conference in as many games as we can. I know it's going to be a tough non-conference slate to start. But it really is just going to get us ready for the conference. So we're hoping that it's going to challenge us and get us ready for our conference games.
I mean, you got Division 1 experience on staff. I mean, you worked at SU, you worked at Buffalo, Lafayette for 4 years. You mentioned Mary Grimes; she's a Siena grad. She's worked at Xavier and at Syracuse herself.
Yep.
So you guys are going to be familiar with the Division 1 aspect, right?
Oh yeah, like we're not worried about that part at all. It's more so, just right away coming in and doing what we can. And like I said, Coach Grimes is a winner. She's been a winner. So we're not really worried about that. And our other assistant coach, Joe, she played at Lemoyne. So she loves Lemoyne so much. So even having recruits come on campus, like, just the love she shows and how much she loves Lemoyne, like I think all of us together, I think it's gonna be really good.
What's the biggest difference between a Division 2 and Division 1?
It's not as much as people think. Now we can just offer more full scholarships and things like that. So, that might be a little bit more enticing, but there's a lot of D2s that beat D1s. So I actually think too, like Coach Mary recruited talent. She didn't recruit level. So I think when people see us play this year, I think they're going to see a lot of talented players out here for Lemoyne for us.
All right, here we go. Mentors. Give me
Okay.
like one male mentor and one female.
For male mentor, I think I gotta go Coach Hop. He really, took me under his wing, as people know, when I was at Syracuse. He still helps me out. to this day, even though he's out at Washington, he still, calls me, checks in on me. I think I learned a lot from him at Syracuse just because like whatever he knew, he wanted me to know, and he wanted to make sure I knew what he knew. So, I think that went a long way with me. Just even to this day as being a mentor. And then I would say a female mentor would probably be Nancy Lieberman. Just she's taken me under her wing too. She's helped me as much as she can help me, and she's just been a friend, and I think that's really important.
All right, Hop, I understand. Nancy Lieberman, you're gonna have to tell me more about this. How did you meet her, and where'd that relationship start? Because she's a legend.
I know it's kind of just when I was at Syracuse, she was actually out working Coach Gerg's camp. And Ryan Kabilis was there, and he said, "Hey, Nancy was working this camp, and she wasn't the assistant coach with the Kings yet. This was right before she became the Kings assistant coach." And he said, "I got her email. I think you should reach out to her and just say hello." So I can, give credit to Ryan Kabilis, the strength coach at Syracuse now. And so I reached out to her, and she gave me her number, and then Brandon Steiner, another Syracuse alum, he got a dinner set up. We went out to Brooklyn and we watched the Nets play when she was coaching with the Kings as an assistant coach. So we got to watch her go to dinner the night before and everything. And then when Syracuse had played in New York City, her son TJ was playing for Richmond, and we ended up staying at the same hotel. So I ran into her. We worked out together. I went at, worked out at her, or worked her camp one summer, stayed at her house. So, I think through just time, it was just weird how your paths just keep crossing. And then every year at the Final Four, she'll get me tickets to the game. We're up close. She had me at the Final Four, women's Final Four, in a van going to the games with all the legends of the game, like Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Miller, Ann Myers. And I'm sitting in this van and I'm like, I do not belong here, but just stuff like that. It's just so cool for me to be able to experience it. And I'm really lucky to have someone like Nancy who, allows me to experience that stuff.
That's amazing.
So long story short.
No, that's amazing. You stayed at Nancy Lieberman's house?
Yeah, so she let me stay out there during the camp and everything. She has a pool in the backyard, really nice house, really cool memorabilia in her house, Kobe stuff, everything. It was a really cool experience, and she's just a normal person, on her day to day, and it was a great experience just learning from her.
She had some Kobe stuff.
Yeah, because I think Kobe was a close friend of hers too, and people like that.
All right, well then we have to now go back to your daughter, Kaiya. Her middle name is Bean, and that's because that's an ode to Kobe Bean Bryant, right?
Yeah, so I grew up the biggest Kobe fan, going to his games, watching all his videos, and I just fell in love with how he prepared and how he competed. And if I had a boy, I was gonna name him Kobe, but obviously having a girl, I'm not gonna name her Kobe. I just didn't. It wasn't a preference for me. So someone said to me, "Well, why don't you name her Bean as a middle name?" So I was like, you know what? I really like that, Kaiya Bean, and it kind of flowed. And so yeah, it ended up being Kaiya Bean after Kobe.
That's pretty cool. In a way, it sounds almost like a nickname you give a kid, but it's her actual middle name, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I call her Beanie all the time. So
there you go. Does she have a Lemoyne onesie yet? Or wait, she's almost 3. She doesn't need a onesie anymore. Do we have t-shirts?
I'm working on getting her a t-shirt. I gotta stop by the bookstore. I'm definitely in the, she's gonna have to wear it to the games. I gotta find actually a jersey for her to wear. I think that would be even better for the games.
Absolutely. Yeah. Bean on the back.
Yes, exactly. With 24.
She won't have to go on any more recruiting road trips, I would imagine, not with mom and dad around.
You know what? I'm not saying no, because I just traveling with her, and I think she enjoys coming with me. So sometimes we might go 2 hours. I know we want to really recruit, the throughway, beyond Buffalo, Rochester, Binghamton area. We want to keep kids local if we can, especially the talent we have around here. So, I might have some closer trips that, she's definitely going to come out recruiting. She went recruiting with me a couple weekends ago out to Spooky Nook, and then we went out to Atlantic City. So she's all for the road trips.
It's your secret weapon. She really is, isn't she?
Yeah, I told you recruits can't tell her no. So it makes sense to bring her.
Is your future in women's basketball, or do you think you could ever go back to the men's game?
I'm keeping all options open. Obviously, I'm just getting to Lemoyne and I really want to build up, Lemoyne as much as I can, but I'm keeping all options open for the future. I love working with men. I love coaching men's basketball. I do miss it a little bit. So, I'm definitely keeping all options open. What I've learned in this business is you just never know what opportunities could come your way if you just keep an open mind. So, the biggest thing is just put my head down, keep working, work on myself, make sure I can be the best coach I can be, the best mom. And then, you don't know what the future is going to hold. There's plenty even schools in this area. So I think right now it's just build up Lemoyne and, you don't know what the future holds. So I'm keeping options open and, whatever comes my way in the future. But, we got some championships to win right now at Lemoyne. So.
Well, from Syracuse to Buffalo, then Lafayette, now back to Lemoyne. Katie, I'm excited to see what your future does hold, because it's been an amazing career already to this point. Congratulations on the new job at Lemoyne, and good luck to you and the Dolphins this coming season.
Thank you, Mike. And I want to say too, just like from like the Post Standard and syracuse.com and all that, you guys have just been amazing, just helping me through my journey. And, I'm very thankful for all of you guys there, every single one of you guys, because you guys have really been amazing. And I really do appreciate that a lot.
Well, I should admit that I leaned heavily on a feature that my colleague Chris Carlson wrote about you about 2 years ago. So, yeah, it was a great story. It's your story just continues to be amazing. Again, thank you for joining us here on the podcast, and good luck to you and the Dolphins next season.